Good morning, everyone. It is 6 a.m. on this election Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Tim Pham. After months of talking about it, Election Day 2024 is finally here. This morning, we are bringing you team coverage. Here in studio, we will take a look at how the Associated Press makes those calls on the races.
Plus, our Brandon T. Jones is live in Idaho ahead of the polls opening this morning. But first, meteorologist Thomas Patrick is letting us know how the weather will impact our day today. Good morning, Thomas.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Conditions are much calmer this morning compared to yesterday, where yesterday, of course, we had the heavy rain that hit us through the midday hours and then some decently fierce winds yesterday afternoon. But all that is an afterthought, and it's just gone as of this morning. Maybe a little bit of leftover breeze, but nothing more than that. Current temperatures in the mid to low 30s for the most part. A couple areas still hanging on to the 40s this morning, but overall should just be a normal November day with our high temperatures in the mid 40s.
As you wake up and head out the door this morning, we're taking a live look at I-90 and Freya on this election day. Right now, traffic is moving nice and smoothly. On Up with KREM, we do take live pictures throughout our traffic network so you get an idea of what things look like out on the roads before you head out the door so you arrive where you're going on time. KREM 2 News brings you the most in-depth election coverage all day. This morning, we are tracking some of the biggest races.
Starting with the Washington gubernatorial race, incumbent Jay Inslee is not seeking re-election. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson is taking on former Congressman and Sheriff Dave Reichert. Our station in Seattle polled 700 likely voters, and results showed Ferguson leading with 50%, while 34% chose Reichert. Now, back in early October, both candidates expressed why they believe they would be the best fit to lead the state.
Bring Washingtonians together. There's an opportunity here for us to have a moderate Republican governor who can work with a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate.
We're facing many challenges as a state. We need someone who can come into the governor's office and be a change agent to make improvements on public safety, homelessness, affordability, but at the same time defending our core freedoms.
When asked about Eastern Washington, both candidates made promises to engage with all of the state.
You know, just like I was the sheriff for all of King County, I will be, as I was the congressman for all of the 8th district, I will be the governor for everyone in Washington state.
Does that come in the form of more often visits to Eastern Washington?
Yeah, I think you got
like?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have to, it's not just visits, but you have to listen to people.
First of all, I've lived and worked on both sides of the mountains. Number two, when I launched my campaign, I literally launched it in Spokane. My second stop was the Tri-Cities. Only then did I come to the west side of the mountains. So I'm trying to communicate throughout my time as Attorney General and standing up for all Washingtonians, and in my campaign for governor, that I plan to be governor for all Washingtonians.
Now, we will hear more from both candidates later on tonight.
If you haven't cast your vote in Washington state yet, you don't need to worry. There is still plenty of time. You can still actually even register to vote in person at a voter service center or at your county's election office until 8 p.m. today. Washington voters can vote in person at a polling location until 8 p.m. tonight. If you are casting your vote from home, though, your ballot needs to be in a drop box by 8 p.m. And an important reminder, do not forget to sign your ballot. Signing your ballot helps prevent voter fraud and ensures your ballot is counted. Polls in North Idaho will open at 8 a.m. this morning, and KREM 2's Brandon T. Jones is live in Kootenai County right now.
So, Brandon, can you share some last-minute information that voters should know about this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Tim. Channing. Well, we mentioned that 8 a.m. time for when polls open. Another time to be on the lookout for is 8 p.m. because that's when polls officially close here in North Idaho. So you'll have about a 12-hour window to get those ballots filled out, turned in, and get your vote counted. So as you wake up on this election day, Idaho residents can also register today if they haven't done so yet. That process can be completed at your local polling place. You'll just need to have your photo ID and proof of address, such as a utility bill or lease agreement. If you need to find your closest polling location, you can plug your address in to the Kootenai County Elections website. They'll be able to generate the poll near you, and they've also got a full list of those polling locations. As a reminder, public schools in Coeur d'Alene are closed for the day. Several schools will serve as a polling place. And in a Facebook post, CDA Public Schools says the closures ensure a safe environment for voters and students. School will resume again tomorrow. Again, the times you need to know, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's when polls will be open. If you can, maybe go ahead and look up some of the initiatives, all of the candidates on those polls as well, all of those ballots. Give yourself a little bit more of a room to be able to fill those out to your preference. But for now, reporting live here in North Idaho, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Well, staying in Kootenai County, let's take a look at the three candidates running against incumbent Bob Norris in the race for sheriff. All of the candidates besides Norris are running as independents. Dan Wilson, Justin Nagel, and Kyle Woodward all tell KREM 2 they believe they are a better fit for the county. Dan Wilson believes the sheriff would represent the people of Kootenai County and says incumbent Norris is failing to provide solutions or leadership.
I know that the people of this county need true leadership and a sheriff that can see down the road and prepares for all threats.
Justin Nagel is no stranger to Kootenai County or a bid for sheriff. He's running against Sheriff Norris again. He says the job should be about representing citizens first.
There's way too much government and not enough space for people.
Candidate Kyle Woodward also saw the need for someone to represent the people. He believes there should be more accountability and transparency within the sheriff's office.
I want to open our department up to accountability and transparency, both financially and in terms of the actions of officers.
Incumbent Norris says the biggest problem facing Kootenai County is fentanyl, but feels the current three-prong approach is working. He points to his 4 years as his resume.
Crime is down 16%. We have engaged this community like no other sheriff prior to.
Norris says if reelected, he will double the number of volunteers for services like search and rescue.
Now, in the hours following the closure of the polls, poll workers start counting votes and sources like the Associated Press start calling races. But how can they do that? Well, let's break it down. The AP has compiled election night votes since 1848, so they have been doing this for a really long time. Across all 50 states, AP has 4,000 reporters to gather voting numbers for more than 7,000 races. Those numbers are double checked with software so that they get the most accurate number possible. They also use AP VoteCast, that is research from voter surveys and other data. Now the question is, how do they actually go about deciding a winner? Well, first, they will not make a call before the polls close. They also only declare a winner when they know there's no way the loser can catch up. So for this, the AP takes history into account. They keep tabs on how a party or a candidate has done in the past. So for example, for nearly 30 years, Idaho has had a Republican governor. So that means the Associated Press could call that race relatively early. It's all focused on accuracy, though. During the 2020 presidential election, the Associated Press was 99.9% accurate in calling races. They were correct in every state for the president and congressional races, and they waited until 4 days after the election to declare President Biden the winner of the 2020 presidential race.
You can watch our election coverage stream on KREM 2 Plus. There you can stay up to date with election results. KREM 2 Plus is free to download on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV.
Now our team coverage of the general election continues tomorrow on Up with KREM. KREM 2's journalists will be spread out all across Spokane and North Idaho. Be sure to join us here from 5 to 7 a.m. right here on KREM 2 for the very latest on election results.